Okay guys, I know this is a very weird angle here, this shot, but I just want to show you this tub. The other day I went through this tub, I actually rearranged it, and it was labeled Anna Griffin, which is great, but I found a ton of dies in here that I either kind of remembered having or had no idea, and when I kind of looked through it, I think they're like probably 3 years old. It seems like that's when they're about maybe 2019 or so. And one of them, or a few of them actually, are still available, are now available again on HSN. So if I have links to them, those would be affiliate links, which means I'll make a small commission if your purchase times to those links. And it's just kind of timely because one of them in particular, I was like, oh, I should buy these. Because, again, HSN brought a bunch of stuff and they said new. But I was like, I don't think those are new. Because, you know, I mean, if you're familiar, at least remember something about your Anna Griffin stuff. Yeah, so I have like, I mean, I found more things, guys, than what I showed you guys the other day. These were on the side of, I have a basket, and in that basket I put the smaller cases that I have that are Anna Griffin and some other things. And on top of that I had this. So in the basket that's holding smaller, like, containers, there were just a ton of dies sitting on next to it, which I didn't realize, like, tucked in there. And so this is one of the lace edge die set, so I was totally thinking about picking something like this up again. These for sure, I was like, oh, I should get those. And I have them here. The 3D flower dies. Now, the only thing is, I don't know if it's only these. I don't think this is part of it, because those look so different. I feel like it's this set. I think it's these 3 that are part of that. Right? Because that one feels so different, in my opinion. So I have those. This is the one I want to try today, and just, we'll see what happens. The mini flower dies, another thing I was like, oh, I should pick those up. Because again, they're on a plate, and we talked about how that's like, oh. But with these, I would do them all one color like this, really, or maybe you mix and match them, but it wouldn't be as big a deal as this. I threw these guys in there. The, and I don't know why I threw them in with the project and everything. The new layering rose dies, I popped those in there. So I think I want to try these guys out today, and hopefully it's just these 2, right? I think in each package there might be another set of dies, because I can feel like that one feels thicker. But okay, I'm going to bring these out. And then what else did I find in here that I just wanted to... what is it? Okay, those... Oh, well, you know, I already put them in the packaging. That's what happened. Another set of word dies. If you guys remember in the other little case, it was all like different words, like sentiments. And people were like, oh, those are like however old, because they remember using them for, you know, X, Y, and Z. Maybe we'll use these guys. Or maybe the other lace ones. I know there's something else in here that... there's a few different sets in here that for sure they brought back, which now I'm happy that I found them, because I'm not going to buy them again. A lot of times what I do on HSN is I will search for the product name, or at least part of it, like Anna Griffin flower, Anna Griffin 3D or something like that, and it'll bring up stuff from 2017, 2018. So like, it's a good way to look it up just in case you forgot that you ordered it, or you go through your email and say Anna Griffin whatever and see if your email will pull up an order. You know, that's kind of another way I try to find things that way. What was I gonna say? Oh, and I don't know when I'm releasing this video or the Diamond Press video. So for March 29th for Craft Day, HSN is having the $5 cart. It seems like it's just for the 29th, so remember that. So if there's something you want to pick up, you know, I don't know when I'm going to release this video. I want to release it this morning. The Diamond Press video I have isn't really like for anything new. It's showing some of the auto ships, because that's what they're going to be presenting, since the auto ships are available now, you know, on certain products and certain lines or collections. And then they're going to present some of the other items that they showed earlier in the month. So the video I have ready for that, again, I don't know which one's going first, is basically just showing you the auto ships that I have in my collection that are available, and then I go through a card. Actually, is the card here? Oh, this one. It is a Celebrate interactive wheel. Look how cute. So what we're going to do is get right to it. And so, yeah, so $5 cart, which is great. And the fact that they let the vendors know that it's coming was really wonderful, because I think they should do that. But that doesn't mean they're going to do it next time, right? So it's like, I think they're still going to have us kind of hanging around wondering, but who knows. Okay, so we're going to try these guys out. Let's see. Let's see how they go. And full disclosure, when I made the Diamond Press video, I had just woken up. It was like 5 something in the morning, and I forgot to mention the $5 cart until like 10 minutes into the video. So sorry about that. Oh, okay, no, it is just the 2 plates, or these 2 sets, you know? So it's 4 plates that do the flowers, and then 3 that do leaves, and just simple with the little embossing, little something, you know? So that'll be cute. I may or may not use this one depending on if it's available, so I'm gonna go check actually when I go to grab paper, see if this is the one that's available, just so we can build up some kind of card. And I'm just going to choose one of the flowers, and to be honest, or maybe we'll do a couple. I really want to do this one because look, it has like a little bit of a rolled center, I would assume, and then keep going from there. Let's see what this looks like here. Yeah, so it's like this one. So it just stands up a little bit and then everything else is around there. That's cute. Oh, this looks really pretty too. Okay, well, let me grab some papers and I'll be right back. I went back and saw that it's not the dies that I showed you earlier that they have back in stock. It's these guys, the Doily dies. And again, saying new, but they're not new. And then I realized these don't say new, but the mini flowers one says new. And I have those too. I showed them to you guys, right? And I was like, oh, good, because I was going to order these. But now, of course, I can't find those either. But that's okay. We don't need to play with all those different things. So what I'm going to do is, I think we're going to go with this guy. And I'll measure these guys for you real quick. So again, these are the Doily dies. And I'm probably going to put this video out this morning. So if you guys use my affiliate links to add these things to your cart, and you're going to wait until midnight for the $5 cart, if you can come back and please just like click one of my generic links or just click back over to HSN before you check out. That way that affiliate relationship stays. It should still be there for, you know, hours from now, right? But a lot of times people put things in their cart like a week early or 5 days early, and then it's like, I don't know who she is. Who's Vianney? I don't know. You know, they forget. So it's only good for so long that they keep that association, you know? So 4 inches there. And actually right now when I just went to my computer, I saw that it's 4-inch square, an email from Crafters Companion talking about there'll be a $5 cart, and it is only on the craft items, which of course is the craft cart. Ooh, I wonder what that means though, because maybe they're like, oh, not origami or not certain things. So it's kind of weird that they're like specifically saying for craft items. We'll see. 4 3/4 circle probably. And then this guy is a big boy, 6.5 by 4.5. So I'm going to cut this out of this beautiful paper. And as you can see, I mean, it does the embossing, it does everything at one time. So if I need to run it back through, because I'll be using my Spellbinders machine, I will run it back through with the rubber mat, possibly, if I feel like it needs that. So I'll do that. And then we'll cut out a flower right now. I don't know which of the leaves I want to use, but you know, I love me a sprig, so I'll probably cut one of those. But I do also like these larger flowers, especially for flowers. These larger leaves, especially because we're cutting what essentially looks like a rose to me, you know, ish. So I'm going to take this whole plate. And there are centers in other spots if you want to put a center in there, you know. You want to mix and match colors. That'd be really sweet. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll cut it out of this light pink. And this is Recollections paper, so it's very thin. I was going to use my heavyweight, like, Hobby Lobby paper, but then I was thinking about it, like, that's probably not the best option. Because it's a flower, I want it to be a little more manipulate, like, you can manipulate it a little better, so I'm going with a thinner paper. So again, this is like 65-pound paper. So I might find another contrasting like pink to run it through too. So we have 2 different colors that we can play with. And do they even say anything in here as far as putting it together? I mean, it looks like you just layer them. Nope. Barely even says anything about how to use the Empress cut. I mean, this is so pretty. They're all so pretty. Okay, I will. I want to show you on this guy. When I die cut facing up, the paper and the die facing up, so that when I move this over, all I have to do is remove that guy, and without too much manipulation, put this guy back down for its embossing. And like I mentioned before, if you have little things like this, get rid of them, because they will definitely emboss themselves back into your project. So just get rid of those things. I'll do the same thing with the flowers. I just want to show you, I stuck them down so that once they cut, they're not going to really move off. You see I put a little tape so it's holding on to at least one of the petals. Again, I'll cut it going like this, so it's facing up, slide it off, and then run it back through with the embossing. And this happens to be my little embossing mat here. And I was just thinking, like, obviously this flower is gonna be kind of bulky. Now maybe I'll make it into a gift box instead of just like a card front. Why not? We haven't done something like that in a while. So I'll just show you guys how I use my Score Master from Crafters Companion to do that. And then even at that, I do stick this on here, trying to make sure it's really holding on to something. But I think this time it was probably holding on to a piece that cuts out anyway, so didn't much matter. But whenever you're gonna like emboss separately, you always want to make sure that your plate's not like moving. But look how pretty! Oh my gosh. Oh, gorgeous. Okay, so I'll do the flowers the same way. Keep showing. So I just barely moved that off. They're on there because, like I said, I put extra sticky. In fact, I can get rid of this because that'll just get in the way. And go ahead and rubber emboss. And I did find another color, a slightly different color of pink of that same kind of Recollections paper, so I'm going to use this also. I'm going to run that through, and then we'll see about matching some up or whatever. Okay, I'll show you, of course, because that's how I am. So pretty, and they just make sense, right? I mean, the way you're going to layer them up. So already a fan of this plate set. I know I have the Christmas, like a poinsettia plate set that I never use, and some other people had mentioned that, like, oh yeah, whenever I was working with the 3D, the layered roses, that the poinsettia one is also a little bit of a pain to work with in that. But, you know, if you're making them the same color, or you can mix and match however you want. It's just the other one is very specific, the way it layers up, and otherwise it looks really, really abstract, and it's like, what is even going on? But look at that. Okay, I'm going to run through this, and I'll be back. So we have these pieces, and you know what? I was going to start making the box, but might as well go ahead and form our little flowers first. So, you know, they have the embossing. If you want to do more shaping, you can definitely do that, just whatever tools you like to use. And I've shown you guys how to do shaping without even using tools, just like the back of a pen. If it's specifically like rounded, you know, or anything, you can go in there, a piece of foam that might have been packaging, you know, recycle that. I'm not going to cut the leaves quite yet. I was going to, like I said, I was like, oh, let me go grab the stuff to make the box, but maybe we should have our flowers ready, so we just put everything together when we get there. So, since these are older and it's not really saying how to do this, I'm just going to go for it. But again, I do want to do a little shaping. So, you know, I don't want to get rid of my embossing, so I think what I'm going to do is just push them down in the center at least. Usually what I do is I kind of, first of all, I spray them with water. I'm not pushing on the embossing so much. I'm just kind of in the very edge of the flower and just giving it a little bit of shaping. But if you wanted to, like I said, spray it with some water and then do that. These are all the darker colors. Actually, I'm going to turn this over just in case. And if you give it a little spritz of water, turn it over. Oh, I'm just going to push the back of these, and see, that did actually make it curve a little better than the dry one. So I'm just doing that, and that gives it a little shape already. And then in the center I'm just pushing it up, so it just kind of wants to curve in just like that. So it's going in, but it's also going back. And again, I'm not doing it too much because I don't want to get rid of my embossing. So I'm going to do that with all the different little layers, and I'm going to spray them with water because I think it looks better. And as they get smaller, I'm just using these ball shaping tools from Crafter's Companion, but you know, I have the Susan's Garden tools from Spellbinders. Or again, if you don't have these tools, oops, grab like something that's rounded. I think one time I showed you guys to use like the back of one of these, but maybe you don't have one of these either, but something that's more round, and just kind of get in the edge. It's not a big deal. Honestly, you can use anything and then push it down in the center. So all you're going to do is kind of cup it, and since it's wet, it's going to stay like that, right? When they're dry, they don't really react the same. So whatever tools you have that might help you do something like that, go for it. A gel pen. Gel pens a lot of times have very rounded things. But anyway, okay, I'm only going to use one of these flowers, but I'm going to still shape all of them, and I'll be right back. What I was doing was a little guy. I just kind of went in order. This one's a little bit different, though, because you're still going to do it yourself anyway. But what's weird in the picture, you see it has 5 petals and barely a little gap there. So what they're showing is to just bring it closer to this one, and that's it. So like, what's the point of that? I mean, you can curl it up more if you want, I think. But it doesn't look great because they didn't set it up that way, I guess. But I mean, who knows? It's a flower. What's, you know, if you like the way that looks, then go for it. Who cares? See your flower. I feel like it needs to be, right? Because that's so silly. They just, all they did was put it like this, like just a little, not even overlapping. I don't know if you can see here. It's like, just bring in to close that little gap. Just bring it in. And I thought, oh, maybe it has 6 petals and then 2. No, it's 5 petals. You see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It has 5. They're just next to each other. Like, kind of weird. I don't know. Okay. I think I'll just end up doing whatever it is that I feel like doing on that one. Okay, so again, I have like these darker colors, and then I have like the lighter ones over here. And what I'm thinking of doing is just, I'm only going to put one together because I think for this project I just need the one. But I'm going to put some glue down here, and I'm going to start again with these guys. And of course we like to offset them, so like put them in a way that the petals aren't just right on top of each other. Sorry, let me come down here a little bit. And this is probably the more persnickety flower of all the flowers, because the other ones I would just layer them up, like nice and flat even. Like these daisy looking ones would look really cute. This one reminds me of like a hibiscus just because of the style of it, but really pretty. Doesn't have a hibiscus center, but it's just really, I meant to grab this one. So anyway, I was talking about these guys and then I showed you the other dies. So this one here, that pointy flower, it looks really pretty. And then this one here, they actually did do up kind of more like the rose, you know, more layered up. Popped in the center from this one and center from that one, as you can see, just mixed and matched, you know, whatever it is that you want to do. This one, oh, this one, so pretty. It looks like they used one of each layer, and it looks really abundant, doesn't it? It looks like there was two of each of the layers, but no, it's one, that bigger one, that medium one, and then the small one. So, really gorgeous. So we have that. And my only question is, should I go straight to the darker pink now, in the dark pink center, or go with the light pink still, and then a dark pink center? Kind of like that. Because the little rose bed's like a little deeper. And on the other one we can go backwards, you know, I don't have to throw this out, obviously I'll use this for something else, but like if I layered it up, we can go with this, this, and this, and then the light center. But generally I like from dark middle to light outwards. But oh, which reminds me, I filmed my video of my garden, which I do every year. I usually do it a couple times a year, but I think last year I only did it the one time because I didn't really plant anything like veggies. But I have to edit it still. There we go. And then that guy came in and did my landscaping, and I was like, oh, I should have done it then after, but I already filmed. So I'm trying to see how tight do I want this little bud to be. Kind of want it like this, but it's going to be hard to get it to stay that way because it's only that one little piece of straight paper, you know? So I'm going to put this here, and hopefully I can hold this in place until I'm happy with that. Oh, maybe I should throw some glitter or something in there since we have this wet glue. I might add a little glass glitter in there since I'm holding it and I have that little opening. So I will be right back. Okay, so I put that down and I just grabbed whatever glass glitter was right on top, and it's a silver one, which that's nice, kind of unexpected. So where's my little spoon? Oh my gosh, I had to use I was transferring you guys, my goodness, the the sequins from Hobby Lobby into a bigger jar because I got so many of the packs, and that stuff was just static electricity, like ridiculous. Oh my goodness, it was such a mess. I was like, I should have just left them in the bags. It was so bad. But I have this beautiful jar of sequins. Oh, I can use some today. But as you can see how it's all sticking all around, it was just ridiculous. Anyway, I'm going to keep holding this till it sets up, and let me dump some of that now. Throw a little center. And I'll be back. Actually, you know what? Since I'm already holding it, I'm going to put some glue here. And then I'm going to place this, and in the meantime, Miranda did wake up, so I have her standing here watching me. Okay, I'm going to hold those down all at the same time. Okay, I'll be back. Sorry about the color being so blown out. Holding this down, I got something like a little thin tool, and I just pushed that last petal kind of into the glue, so it's kind of flattening it at the very base, because otherwise it's like not gonna want to hold on, even though I put a ton of glue. So I'm gonna let that set up. I'm gonna grab some paper to make our card base, and then we'll make, or not card base, box base, and I'll be right back. So we have our little flower. I'm gonna puff it up more once it's set up, because I do not want to mess with that. But actually, it doesn't have that much dimension. Look how flat it is. I mean, if you want to put that on a card and still have that dimension that we just created, like the texture and shaping we did, I think it'll be just fine. Like this one, as you can see, you could stack it like this and see how deep that is, but this one, it's just kind of a little more flattened out. We're going to pop it in here somewhere. So I'm going to put it to the side. Of course, it's going to pop even more with the beautiful leaves. So I have my Score Master here, and all we have to do is think about how big do we want to make our box, and since that topper is like 6.5 by 4.5, I think the smallest I should make the top is 6 3/4 by 4 3/4, or you can go full on 5 by 7, or a little bigger than 5 by 7 if you want to put a card on the inside of the box still too. So all these things, it doesn't really matter. All you're going to do is when you make your own boxes is think of a couple things. So let me grab a piece of scrap paper so I can give you your numbers, and then you can make your own, right? Whatever size you want. So Miranda's brushing her teeth down here. You might hear a little something. So I'm going to make it difficult because, of course, 5 by 7 is a good number to start with. But regardless, if you want 5x7 or a little bit bigger, again, if you're gonna put a 5x7 card, obviously you want a little space in there. So you would say maybe 5 1/8 or 5 1/4 by 7 1/4. But I'm doing 6 3/4. Well, let's say 4 3/4. Let's put the smaller number over here. So 5x7. I'm doing 4 3/4 by 6 3/4. Okay. How much overlap do you want from your boxes? Do you want them to close right into each other? So 1 inch around the side, 1 inch on the bottom side, so they just close like a box like that? Or do you want the box top to have to be a little smaller so that the base of your box is a little bit deeper, or whatever it might be, right? So you got to think about that. I'm going to say 1/2 inch lip, I think, is probably good enough. So I'm going to say on this one, you're going to do it all around. So for the top, the box top, we need to add 1/2 inch all around, which basically means 1 inch on either one of these numbers. So it's going to be 5 3/4 by 7 3/4. If you were doing a 5x7, you would do 6x8, right? As far as the top, because I want the top to have 1/2 inch lip. I want my base to be a little deeper than that, because I like the way that looks. Now, do you want it to just be a 1/2 inch deeper, so it's a full just 1 inch deep, your box? You want your box to be 1.5 inches, 1.25 inches. And then these numbers also, you know, are limited by your paper if you want to keep it all one piece of paper. Like, I don't even know if this is going to work with these other ones once I do this other number, but I hope it does. So let's just say my box is going to be 1 inch deep. So the base with 1 inch sides, I guess. So that means to this number we have to add 1 inch all around, all 4 sides, right? But all around. So you have to add 2 inches, because 1 inch and 1 inch on this one. So 2 and so that's 6 3/4 by 8 3/4. So if it was this guy, you'd need to cut it 7 by 9. Okay, so it's not too difficult. You're just adding 1 inch to these numbers here, and you're adding 2 inches to these numbers here. So I'm going to cut my box top, which is going to be this darker pink, to 5 3/4 by 7 3/4. I'm going to cut this box base, the lighter pink, to 6 3/4 by 8 3/4. Okay, and I'll be right back. Okay, guys. So since I'm using the Score Master, now we can definitely make our own box top and bottom without a Score Master. If you have just have a regular scoreboard, hopefully you have like 1/8 of an inch, because all you're going to do is score it with 1/8 of an inch difference, or make your paper that much bigger. So it's kind of interesting, because you just need it to be a little bit, your box top needs to be a little bit bigger than the base as far as the scoring, and I'll talk about that right now. So this is my little 5 3/4 by 7 3/4 top, and I'm going to take my tool, which I just used while I was doing unboxings of the swap. Where did I put it? So with the Score Master, and I always have a link to the Score Master, because I mean I use this thing all the time. I have several of them, but they don't break. It's not like, I don't know why I have several of them. Or the envelope box, all these different things will help you do the same kind of stuff. So it just says measuring guide, you know, I'm doing inches, but when you flip it the other way, it says box base, right? And box lid. So, basically you're going to use it this way. I'm going to do my measurements facing up, and then later I'm going to turn it this way, and I'm going to do the same thing for the box base, but over here, okay? So it'll make sense in a minute. And I don't know if you can tell, on the ridges, this ridge right here, when you first start marking from, you know, 1 inch, 2 inch, whatever on this side, it's a little bit thicker over here, and that's why you just need that little bit that makes it a little bit smaller in the base so that the lid will fit nice. That's all it is. So if you're making your own calculations, literally you just need to add like a 1/16 and a 1/16, so like an 1/8 of an inch on this side, you know, this way and this way, if you're cutting down your paper to begin with. It's just a whole different thing. This is easier if you have this, because you can just measure it without thinking anything about it. But I did want my box top to be only 1/2 inches, right? So on the sides, so I have a 1/2, which honestly is very small. I probably should have gone 1 inch. But I'm going to do 1/2 inch all around. This is going to be a very skinny box. But again, whatever you want, just add that number to your measurements. So we're doing 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch. And then when we go to the box base, it doesn't matter that we're doing an inch on this. It's just going to give us that little extra. The height doesn't matter. That's not going to change anything. It's the little thickness of it, the little width, that little smidgen that's going to be a little bit smaller. So I'm going to turn this over, and now on my box base, I'm going to do the 1-inch marks. And so I'm just trying to be clear. So because of this space being a little bit larger than this little, you know, smaller space, it's moving the 1 inch over, like just a little bit, just a little bit. Actually, I can show you. If I brought it over here and marked the 1 inch, it's almost negligible. Like I would push it here, but it's just the smallest amount over. I don't know. Okay, so we did 1 inch there, and 1 inch here. Because by the time that adds up, that just that little tiny bit will make a difference. 1 inch here, and so again 1 inch all around. That's why we don't mess with the size of the what we want to end up with, the 4 3/4 by 6 3/4 or the 5 by 7. That's just there, and you're just adding your allowances for like the edges. Is all you're doing. So I have a bad habit of scoring on the scoreboard, like doing this part, and then it has ridges because of all the lines, and it goes and it's just not as nice, you know. For this one I will score because that's just how it is. Now before you do any of that, if you want to cut them down now, you can cut it first, you can score it, then cut it. It doesn't matter, just you got to cut a little notch away. So let me show you, like since I already scored it. You're gonna pick one side to do this too. So if I'm gonna do it to this side, I usually do it to the same piece, you know, however you want, but you're going to cut on that score line and then just cut away a piece. And I usually go from like the center as well as I can get there and cut this little piece away. So that one already has a tab. But like I said, I like to keep it the same as much as I can. So I'm going to cut down here. Again, just straight on that score line as well as I can. And in here. And so I do it the same. Whatever's facing down, I cut, and then the angle. That way, one strip isn't getting both tabs. But you can do that way too. Whatever you like to, however you like this to look, that's up to you. To do this part, okay. Okay. So again, I could have scored it all at once and then done this, but here we go. And I'm gonna do the exact same thing to the lid, but see, once you cut it, you're gonna have to score these little pieces differently, so that's why it just depends, whatever you like. Okay, and all we're gonna do is glue these tabs in, and I'm telling you, whenever Sarah does these, and like she'll do like the Gemini, the Pro, and she's like going through real fast, I love it. Like it gives me a rush because I'm like, it just looks so cool when she presents it, because it's just like, yeah, I mean, they do work up that quickly. Now I do have little clippies, and of course when I need them, I don't know where any of them are. I used to have them right here in front of me, then I rearranged some things, but I'll hold these two at a time. So just put glue on the glue tabs that you just created and tuck those in, of course, to make it look nice and neat. And I'm telling you, it's just a little bit smaller than the box top. So back in the day, we would just calculate those numbers, right? But it is much easier when you have something that's already taking into account that little bit that you want to move over. And there we go. And here we go. Okay, and I'll do the same thing. Actually, I was gonna say I have one clippy here that a friend gave in a swap. Good thing Nuvo Deluxe adhesive holds up really fast, but here I found my little clippy. So if you ever get clothespins or things like that, or if you pick them up, I mean, that's another good way to use them. I know sometimes it is harder to use them on like other craft projects or things that we normally do, cards and stuff, but it can be a nice tool. So I glued this one a little bit too high, so I'm just going to trim that off. Also, this is handmade. I might have just scored that a little bit, you know, a little bit off. Okay, so we have that guy, and I'll do the exact same thing like this. So notch it out, fold it up, and put it together, okay? Again, these little glue tabs folded to the inside, just like we did before. I think we're here. Miranda said, you've already been working for a long time, just because she looked at the time. I'm like, well, actually, this is the second video I made this morning, but I gotta finish it up. So I'm gonna be phoning in the the sentiment. I think I'm gonna use this beautiful from the LDRS Creative Ephemera pack. Oh, which reminds me, I am definitely picking up her mini slimline die sets, so I'll link whatever's available. I don't think they are on the site yet though, but I always say things like that, but whatever I link in the description box is available generally. So here's our little lid, and if we did this right, it should fit right on there with, you know, just, I mean, like, look at that, you guys. Look at that. And that's hand done. I mean, that's like perfect. Okay, it's a little off on the side, but that's okay. We can look at. So anyway, that's why I always keep the link there for that, because it's a great item. And so I'm just going to stick this down, and now I can leave it kind of free-flowing because it's a gift box in itself. So if I only wanted to stick the middle part down and let the rest do its thing because it's a doily, you know, you can do whatever you like. Maybe I'll put a little more glue up here, but leave the very edges kind of more free-flowing, which is one of my favorite things to do. And then I think the only word dies that Anna has right now are like those larger ones, like the ones from that old auto ship, are like the scrapbook words, right? The scrapbook die set, which I also have, that came in that big create kit, which I'm looking at, and I never finished any of the projects from. I even bought the album. I was like, oh yeah, I need to get the album to put that together, you know, later. Did not do that. This guy, and I would like to puff this guy up just a little bit more, even though, because he's kind of flattening out on me, like I showed you guys earlier, but we can puff that up. Oh, so pretty. Okay, and we'll tuck in that word somewhere. And I'm gonna run through, I don't know if I need that. Well, I'll run through these larger ones, and they do have some embossing on them. And these guys do have embossing, it's just around the edge. I don't know if you can see, it's like this edge here. So I'll run these guys through too, and maybe two different kinds of green, because I did choose one green, but I don't want to put all those leaves and then just stick with the same green, right? So let's put this to the side. I'll run these guys through. I don't even know where I put my paper. Anyway, I have some green paper here. It is this guy, and I usually go with a lighter green, so this is like my darker green. That I will, I'll run this guy through the darker green. And I'll find a lighter green somewhere here in my pile. I usually end up with a really bright green, which is this one, and I always think, no, like once I bring it out, but then once you cut it, it actually doesn't look bad, but I feel like it's too bright for this. I'll find another green. I'll be right back. I actually really like the way these just come off and the plates just stay there. Again, I put tape so it's touching something of the leaves, that way when I do this part. Again, if you have the Empress and you like to cut into your magnetic mat, which I do not like doing, you do that, and supposedly all in one pass it goes, but I remember, it's not my thing, and on top of that, I don't feel like it worked all that great for me, but, you know, everyone has different experiences. Okay, so, anyway, I'll be right back. I was using a scrap here, I left it so that part of it wasn't even going to cut, because I figured you're going to tuck that in anyway, so I left that staying out. And then, so I'm going to take a moment just to release this tape, and I didn't emboss that, as you saw, to get that little edging on there. Sometimes some things to me aren't worth embossing, you know, again, the second time. And sometimes the machine has enough pressure that it does some, right? The first time you run it through, but I mean, look how pretty that is. And again, you want to do some inking or whatever else. And this is not that green paper I showed you. It's slightly deeper, but it still is very bright. Okay, so let's see what we want to do here. Aw, so pretty. Tell you. Okay, I like where that is. Oh, I like exactly where that is. And again, a lot of times what I'll do is not even take it out. I'll just put some glue behind it, but it's okay. It's not that big a deal. Pop that right in there. And then this guy over here. And then we'll pop in some of the rose leaves. Something like that, that'll be there. And then the word beautiful just kind of in here. Now you can center that, you know. Obviously it says beautiful. It's just covered up a little bit. I don't know if I was going to use, I wasn't even going to cut the biggest one because I figured it's really big. So I was going to go with like the medium size and smaller leaf. Something like that. And bring it a little more out to the edge. Okay. Probably should have fired up the hot glue. but I did not. There's that guy. And then I'll slide this in here somewhere. And if you still want to give it more shape, I mean, you can definitely shape these guys up too, just like we did before with the rose. Oh, I kind of like that. It kind of went in between the petal and the box, and I kind of like the way that gave it that shape there. Okay, hopefully I put enough glue to support that. I'll put a little glue on this side for this one. And maybe there. Yeah, I like that. I like the way it's just kind of sticking up here a little bit. And I'm just going to stick down our word beautiful. Again, we can also put some dimensionals on that. Of course. Let's see where we're at. And I think that's it. Of course, you know, little dots, some nouveau, whatever other things you like to work up, but you know, for me this is it. You know, if we had that big guy, it just looks a lot bigger for this project. So I'll put that away. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully that gave you some idea how to use these flowers that don't have too much instruction with them. And that's just one way of using them, or how I decided to use them. And yeah, making a nice little box. Alright guys, thanks for watching. I will have the links there available for you. And again, the $5 cart starts at midnight. Of course, that's 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, because we are lucky out here that I have to stay up till midnight. But I'll see you guys March 29th again, midnight, going to March 29th, which is tonight. And only on craft items. All right? I'll see you guys at the next one. Bye now.